So I've been a big fan of Joseph Parker throughout his career, right? And then he fights Andy Ruiz. And I'm not saying that I'm not a big fan of Joseph Parker anymore because he didn't look good against Andy Ruiz. But the fact of the matter is, Andy Ruiz, as we all know, he's a quite fast guy for his size, especially for his size. I mean, he was 280 pounds a while back, and then he lost a bit of weight for Joseph Parker. Props to him for that. And, he gave Joseph Parker one hell of a fight. And the fight could have gone either way, in my opinion. Had it been in America, maybe we'd see a different result. Obviously, it was in Joseph Parker's home turf. But I'm not saying about robbery or anything. I don't think it was a robbery. And, in fights like that, it's one way or another. It could go either way. But then, so I gave it to Joseph Parker. It might have been a one-off performance, a bad night for him. Of course, he's never really fought somebody like Andy Ruiz, who's quite fast with his hands and a good counterpuncher, takes advantages of people's bad defenses. But then Joseph Parker, sorry, goes on and fights Razvan Kajaani from Romania, and he does not look impressive. I mean, he fought Kajaani this weekend, I think it was. Yeah, this weekend, same night as Chavez versus Canelo, and did not look impressive at all. I was watching it, and I was just thinking to myself, if Joseph Parker was going to fight Hughie Fury like he fought Kajaani, I mean, just forget it. Joseph Parker would be beaten on points by Hughie Fury any day of the week. I mean, Hughie Fury would outbox him like that. But from other things that I've seen in Joseph Parker's past career, past fights, Joseph Parker would beat Hughie Fury. So I'm not really believing that was another night off, really. I think Joseph Parker has serious problems with his defense, and Kajaani, because of his lack of skills, he couldn't really take advantages of that. And Joseph Parker, his defense looked bad. His hands were dropped. His chin was always exposed. Who knows? He might have a granite chin. I've never really seen somebody who's Samoan and has a glass chin, and that's not even racism. That's just one of my observations. Just thought I'd throw that in. But that was a fight, right, that Joseph Parker should have gone into and made a big statement to the world of boxing and showed, I'm the worthy WBO champion. I will destroy any bum in my way, just like Deontay Wilder beats all the bums that he fights, right? And, I was expecting Joseph Parker would do that against Kajaani. Nope, we didn't see that. He beat him on points, and he didn't really hurt Kajaani at all in the fight, to be honest. I didn't see it getting stopped. I couldn't really see the fight getting stopped or Joseph Parker winning by knockout because of his low work rate and things like that. And he should have really amped up his work rate to show us that he's worthy of these guys like Joseph Parker and can beat them clearly. He didn't do that. And maybe it's up to his trainer Kevin Barry. Of course, I've never been trained by Kevin Barry. I don't know personally if he's a good trainer or a bad trainer, and I've not really heard of any fighters who have come out and said that he's a good trainer or a bad trainer. So I don't really know much about him. But if you always do the same thing, if you always stay the same way, you're not going to see any differences in your results. And maybe the difference that Joseph Parker needs is a change in his trainer. Kevin Barry, I can't really remember the last time I've seen a fighter trained by him, apart from Joseph Parker, to be honest. A good fighter. I've heard Joseph Parker and Kevin Barry have a good relationship, which is very useful to have in boxing, but it's not the main quality of a trainer. It's just one of the, a very useful added extra, let's say. And I can't really comment on Kevin Barry's training, but he doesn't really show boxing wisdom in his interviews and whatnot. I mean, Virgil Hunter, for example, you can just tell he's going to be a great trainer by the way he talks. Everything he says about boxing is just 100%. I don't really see that from Kevin Barry, but what has talking got to do with boxing? Maybe that's just Kevin Barry. But anyway, Razvan Kajaani came out and said that Joseph Parker didn't possess any real power, and it certainly did look like that way in the fight. And maybe the only reason Kajaani is saying that is because Joseph Parker didn't land enough punches on him. Obviously, there weren't many punches thrown on either side, to be honest. Joseph Parker, once and again, he threw a combination or whatnot, a flurry of punches that wouldn't really hurt Kajaani. And, his hands were constantly dropped. But in my opinion, Joseph Parker must have some sort of power because he's knocked out, I don't know how many, about 18 of his opponents. And he knocked out Francois Botha, who's obviously old now, but, he's got a good chin. And Joseph Parker managed to knock him out. That was one of Joseph Parker's most impressive performances, in my opinion. So yeah, a lot of people are saying that Joseph Parker was gifted this WBO title against Ruiz. But yeah, I don't really know how he's going to do against somebody like Anthony Joshua at this stage of his career. I think there definitely must be a change in Joseph Parker, be it his work rate or his trainer or any of these. But at this stage of his career, I can't really see him beating Anthony Joshua unless we see something changed in him. Tyson Fury as well. Definitely easy night for Tyson Fury, in my opinion. Luis Ortiz, that would be a good fight now. Joseph Parker versus Luis Ortiz. I wouldn't mind seeing that. But first of all, let's get Joseph Parker versus Hughie Fury out of the way. Obviously, I think Hughie Fury deserves a shot at the world title, and from what I've seen against Kajaani and Andy Ruiz from Joseph Parker, he has not looked great, and Hughie Fury would take advantage of that. Believe me, Hughie Fury is one of the fastest heavyweights right now on his feet, and he's quite underrated in my opinion. A lot of you are ruling him out because he's pulled out of fights and whatnot, and it is ridiculous that he pulled out of the Joseph Parker fight. He deprived us of a good fight, and I think that fight could have gone either way, but I thought the fight could have gone either way, but from what I saw against Kajaani, Hughie Fury, let me know what you think of this video. And Joseph Parker, I don't think he's the strongest heavyweight around at the moment. I think he's the weakest heavyweight champion out of all of them. I saw the video as well for him reacting to Anthony Joshua's win over Vladimir Klitschko. And when Klitschko was launching an offense and hurting Anthony Joshua, he was cheering, he was shouting. And then when Anthony Joshua was hurting Klitschko, he looked very concerned. Very, very concerned and shook. That's the only way to describe it. There's no two ways about it. Joseph Parker did not look happy with Anthony Joshua's win over Klitschko. And who would? I mean, Anthony Joshua, I'm not a fanboy of him by any means. I see a lot of weaknesses in him, but that was definitely a very strong performance. Well done to Anthony Joshua on that. I was expecting to see something similar from Joseph Parker this weekend, but obviously we couldn't. Kajaani, he had a 2-week training camp for Joseph Parker, specifically for Joseph Parker. So that means he couldn't get, sparring partners in and whatnot. And he did have quite a few months of training camp. I mean, he started in January, his training camp altogether. But, it's not fight specific. It's not specific to Joseph Parker. And that's one of the main aspects of a training camp. You get sparring partners in to match the level of a position and to replicate the level of opposition you're facing. So, let me know what you think of this video. What you think of Joseph Parker. Is he the weakest title holder